Welcome to the Brett Davis Podcast.
Oh, 2 for 2. I've got another show. I can't believe it. It's just time is going by. So, of course, I'm Brett Davis, and I'm here today at the Attorney King Studio in Coronado. A couple weeks back, I was at Digital Film Festival?
Yeah, Costa DigArts Festival for just all different sorts of artistic expressions.
So the gentleman that's talking, of course, if any of you don't know, but you're going to be hearing more of him. His name is Baxter Simpson. And the reason I have him here today is the reason my wife and I decided to approach him after this event that went on in Coronado a couple of weeks ago was his filmmaking and his storytelling, because it's very simplistic, but yet it's intriguing. It draws you in and it makes you think, which I think we need more of these types of films and storytelling. So, Baxter, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to talk about this.
Well, I am too. And it's crazy is the subjects that you have conquered. I mean, you've done a story and a film I just found out recently called The Death at the Dell.
Yes. Yeah. About Kate Morgan.
Which, as I'm watching this, had no idea what it was about. I keep looking at my wife, who gets tired of me talking, of course. Just remember, this is what pays the bills. So don't get too tired of what I do, okay? Of course, you pull the strings and are the puppeteer, but let's not forget, you still need a voice. The story of the Coronado Company was the one we did see. Both phenomenal films that I've seen. I mean, I loved the Coronado Company the first time.
Thank you.
That I saw it, and I'd heard the stories for a long time about it. The 60-minute interview, did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that.
So I have to tell you, your film blew the 60 minutes out of the water.
Oh, yeah. I think
they played it safe.
They did. Yeah. I think a really big part of it is just like telling it with such quality. And I feel like they didn't really tell it in such a way that really provoked, like you said, like thoughts and actions. And I feel like my film was just really successful at being able to really make you think about it much more.
Well, you made that film was how long?
I think it was about the 7-minute range. Both films are around 7 minutes.
It seemed longer than 7 minutes.
Yeah, must have really got into it.
Well, it seemed like 20 minutes to me, maybe. And you were able to do something which is really hard to do in a short period of time. You're able to make a connection with the characters of that movie, and kind of tell what they were about, which made you gave you more of an insight and make you feel like you knew the characters. And that's where 60 Minutes dropped the ball. They made it just seem like this story of, and they just kind of put it out there. But in a short period of time, you were able to define those characters, tell the story, talk about an introduction of how, they were in high school at Coronado High School, and how they were why they got into how it all started, and then about the teacher getting involved, and of course, what ended up happening to them. But I thought you covered it in such detail, and I thought this kid, whoever did this movie, should be an investigative reporter, because he was able to really give the detail of what really happened. And if you weren't aware of what happened, you were now aware.
Yeah.
And it did not seem like 7 minutes, because you were able to get so much in, and it didn't seem rushed, and the editing was done very well.
Thank you.
And as a lot of people don't know, editing is very important, isn't it?
Oh yeah. I think it's one of the most important things, because I didn't film anything for that documentary. And it was really just all researching and editing. And without the editing, it would have really been nothing.
A director is important. You need to have a director in anything you do, but you also it's almost like in business. You've got to have an outside person and an inside person. You got to have a management skills, keeping things organized in the books. But then on the outside, you need that extrovert that can go out and help get passion across and get the words across of what and where you're going. And you need somebody like a Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
Could go on stage in a pair of blue jeans and rivet an audience and bring them in. But you need a team of specialists, even though your film, how many people were involved with your film?
In the making of it?
Uh-huh.
It was just me.
Really?
I had my dad help out a little bit with some research stuff as well. But besides that, it was primarily just me. Yeah.
Well, you both did. He did a great. The part that Dad did, I'm sure. What did he do? The
Um,
researching.
yeah, just trying to help, get the really form the story. And then I took over with the rest.
Phenomenal job. If anybody hasn't seen it, I highly recommend it. Of course, it's The Death at the Dell. Did I say it right?
Yeah, or the Coronado High for
The Coronado,
Coronado High, the story of
Coronado,
the Coronado
the
Company.
story of the Coronado Company.
Yeah.
That's what it's called. The story of the Coronado Company.
Yes.
Okay, I wanted to get that right. Oh, it's right here. The story of the Coronado Company. So, highly recommend it. Where can people see the movie?
It is on my YouTube channel.
Okay.
Just search Coronado High, story of the Coronado Company, or Baxter Simpson. It's on my YouTube channel, as well as a few other projects I've made over the years.
So let's talk about something else. We were going to talk about film, but this is, I think it's very important and instrumental, no pun intended, of course. You're in music.
Yeah, yeah. It's another one of my passions.
So
Besides,
let's talk about music. What instrument do you play?
I play guitar and I sing as well.
Wow.
Yeah, do some bass, little bit of drums, but primarily guitar.
How much in movie making and in music is timing involved? Does it help with timing, the music that's involved when you play music and timing of things? I mean, because there's timing in the right time to do a note or play, sing it, hit a note or play. You said the bass.
Bass guitar, yeah.
So, is there anything involved with the two that maybe has music made you a better filmmaker in any way?
Oh yeah, I definitely think it has. Being able to just really like work with audio and understand how also how like music sways your emotion. And I think through that I've been able
So true.
through
Your
my
music's really good in your movies, by the way.
thank you.
That
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah, I worked really hard finding songs that works pretty well. And through my experience with music theory, I've really just been able to find songs that catch the emotion that I'm going for. And sometimes what's really interesting is when there's emotion that I'm going for and I put a song in that has a completely different emotion, it will make you think about it in just a completely different way. And sometimes that way might be better than the way I intended. And that's really like a big part of filmmaking as well as music writing is what you end with might be better than what you started with, but it could be completely different.
Which is good storytelling
Yeah.
through emotion with the ear, the visual part with the eye, of course, with film, but then the music really can pull you in because, as you know. So tell me about your band. You mind talking about that at all?
It's more of a solo project when it comes to film. I used to be in a little like group with my friends when we jam out and stuff. But most of the music stuff I do is solo. I did have I had a band when I was in middle school. We called ourselves Tragic Melody. Yeah, clever name. People really liked it.
I like it.
That's really when my complexity and really interest in music started taking off. I've been doing music since fourth grade, but that is where like I really saw the value of artistic expression and how when you put something out to the people and they really just like feel connected to it, it shows how powerful music can be and how much influence you can have on people. And I really realized, wow, that is like such a big part of me. And through that, I've really just spiraled with my filmmaking and my music to help influence certain things that I want to influence people.
So you have a big gig coming up. You want to talk about that?
I do, yeah. Del Mar Fair, June 18th, I think, which is in that's in like 16 days.
Is that a Friday or Saturday?
Friday, Saturday. I think it's a Saturday.
It's a good day for music.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You're gonna get a good crowd.
It's gonna be really good. I'm really looking forward to play that because most of the gigs that I have are with my sister. And
Your sister at home, you guys practice together or what?
She has her own little set of songs that she does as well as I do, and so I kind of tag along. You could call me the kind of the lesser important of the act. Her name's on the banner. I'm kind of like the opening act, you could say.
There's some good opening acts, some good bands that started as opening acts.
Oh yeah, and this is the end of the opening acts. This is the main act.
Okay.
It is progressing and starting. And so I'm really looking forward to playing at the Del Mar Fair. I think it's going to be really phenomenal for my musical career. It's like I'll be playing plenty of more new songs that I haven't played before. A set list way longer than a set list I've ever done, and it's going to be a real big milestone, I think.
Well, I have a daughter that you met earlier who's a music critic who's going to be going out to a lot of I want to make sure she's aware, unless you told her already, to try to be there for that event, because I think it would be great for her to witness.
Yeah, that'd be great. The more the merrier at
Right.
that show.
Well, I'm excited for your career and what you're going to do. And of course, you want to go to college.
Yeah.
And you're thinking about going to Santa Barbara?
Santa Barbara, UCSB. It's not really I don't really want to go there for filmmaking. More just I was just really attracted to the school when I went there. It just really
It's a beautiful area.
yeah, I really resonated with it. And just like the vibe that it had. And it really spoke to me. And even though I don't really know much about the filmmaking school that they have there, or if they really have any, I do think I would really just enjoy the vibe of going there.
It's a great city. Who do you admire as far as directors or filmmakers?
One great director that I don't think a lot of people would know is Matt Whitecross.
I don't know him.
I
don't think
he's a documentary director. He's done a documentary, Head Full of Dreams, about Coldplay.
Really?
Yeah, it was really phenomenal.
I have to check that out.
Yeah, I saw it in the theaters, and I was
oh, you know what? I heard about it. I've heard about it.
Yeah, it's really, I definitely recommend to check it out. And I went into that theater.
Was it IMAX? Was it an IMAX situation with that documentary?
I don't believe so. But I can say this: I went into that theater not a Coldplay fan anyway whatsoever. In fact, I don't think I really even liked Coldplay. I was kind of a Coldplay hater. But I left the biggest Coldplay stan there could be. And it wasn't Coldplay itself that made me really attracted to that band. It was the way that their story was told. And that's what Matt Whitecross did, is he really provoked a lot of feelings, because he told the story right. He told the story in a way that really captured my attention. And I'm a tough critic, as I'm a filmmaker, compared to the average person. And like, you know, I see when I'm trying to be swayed with certain emotions, and I rolled with it. I was really impressed by his work, as well as his documentary on Oasis. Two really fantastic.
Oasis is I like your music too. I like Oasis.
Oh yeah, they're fantastic.
Where are they from?
Oasis, they're from the UK.
Okay.
England. I'm not sure what's.
I like their music. They have great music. I think it's fresh. When you hear it, it doesn't sound like they're trying to copy anybody. That's all the great ones are like that. They don't try to copy. They just do their own thing.
Yeah.
Right.
There are some Beatles
themes.
Beatles themes, definitely, for sure. I'm
a Beatles fan, by the way.
Yeah. Have you seen the movie Yesterday?
No. Oh yes, I have. Yeah, I have seen it. All the Beatles. They use parodies and things and songs, and
it's the Beatles like didn't exist, and then the dude wrote all the songs.
He's from India.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I've seen parts of it.
Yeah. It's a really good.
Oh, it is. It's great.
Really great movie. There's a little dig at Coldplay because the Beatles didn't exist, and so he looked up, or not Coldplay, sorry, Oasis. he looked up Oasis and they didn't exist because the Beatles didn't exist. Kind of like saying
That's
that
so, yeah,
copied their
exactly.
songs.
So they had an impact.
Oh yeah,
I think the Beatles
definitely
had
think
an
they did.
impact on a lot of people because they did have various types of music.
Yeah.
I can tell you, I still have LPs. If you look over here, I've got some LPs in a record player.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I've got some of the original stuff I played in the old days when I was your age that I found at my mom's house. Still really upset that somebody took my David Bowie album, and I don't know who borrowed it or took it, but I wasn't really happy about that. And so if you're out there listening right now, if that album should reappear, I will not hold any judgment towards you. I don't need to know who you are, but I want my Bowie album back.
Yeah, you heard that. He wants his David Bowie album.
That's all. I mean,
what album was it?
Well, it wasn't his earlier Ziggy Stardust stuff. It was more like it was more the when he did Let's Dance and Modern Love and those types of things, which were different for Bowie. If you really love music, and I'm talking to you as a friend because I feel like you are a friend, if you get a chance, and I don't know if you've been to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland.
Oh, I've not been to that.
Have you been before?
I've been to. Do you know what NAMM is?
Yeah,
the convention. Yeah, I've been to that.
McKenna wants to go to that really bad.
Oh, that's it.
That's like she always gives me a hard time about that. But so you have not been to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
I have not.
So the thing, Dad, have you been before? Okay. If you love music and you love just the creativity process of, because music is not just music, the way they dress, the way they put themselves together, the way they got in the mood. They had the original clothing that all these artists wore.
Oh, wow.
And one thing I will say that was really impressive is Bowie designed a lot of his own clothing. I mean, really like basic, I mean, really cool stuff that he does help. He worked with people on it, but it wasn't, I think the clothing helped set the tone of the storytelling with the music and the vibe that was put out with it. That's the thing I got from that. I would have never thought about that had I not looked. And the other thing is they were all much smaller than I thought they were because the clothing was the actual clothing, but they had the Beatles clothing there too.
Oh, wow.
Even
I'd like to see that
stuff Prince used to wear. I mean, and it just, you appreciate the artist because you see things you would never think about because we hear them, but even the detail of clothing, you would never imagine could be so much of an art.
Yeah.
They thought about even that detail.
Yeah, I do think like when it comes to albums and when it comes to artists, like the clothing itself and like the vibe that their image emits just really connects you to the music itself, and it really just like when I listen to something, I want to view it as well.
Sure.
And the artists really are able to do that through like, you know, what they project through their album covers, through their clothing, through, you know, all sorts of stuff. And I just really think that helps the viewer feel more.
We used to get excited. This is going to sound funny, but when I was your age, we would get excited about the cover.
Yeah.
Of the album.
Yeah, I still do.
There was some wild covers. That was like, it set the tone. And,
yeah, exactly.
And some of the stuff was like way out, especially the stuff like from Pink Floyd, you know, or even Led Zeppelin. But you would say, wow, this looks interesting. And then and that was just an art form in itself. And I think some people really, and I've heard in England, LPs are more popular than they are in the United States. I don't know if that's true because I have never been to London. But do you know anything about that, Dad? Is LPs pretty popular in the London area at all compared to the United States? Is that true, or more so than the? But we're getting. There seems to be a little bit of a comeback for vinyl.
Oh, completely.
There's an imperfection about it. Some people like this perfect sound and they don't want to hear the scratch or the glitch. But some people they think it's more pure when it's imperfect. What's your take on that?
I have a record. A player, and
what do you like better between the two, the digital or because you get the perfect sound and you probably could hear some things you wouldn't hear, right?
Oh, completely. Yeah. I think my take on it would be it's definitely more accessible digitally, and I really think that's what scores it some points. If I had a CD player right next to a record player, I think I'd go with the record player. But if
Wow.
I have
That says a lot.
yeah. But if I have my phone in my pocket and I'm not and
You
I'm
just want to hear
somewhere
it.
out,
You just want to hear it.
yeah, just
It's
whatever's easier,
it's accessible.
Yeah. But I do think that there is much to be heard on a vinyl record that cannot be heard digitally. Um and it's just a lot more real when you're listening on vinyl.
I agree. It seems to take you to a place. It almost makes you feel like you're there,
Completely, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's amazing. I've never had this discussion about anybody about vinyl or music. I don't know how it came up. I'm glad we're talking about it because music is huge for movies, and if anything will bring the world together, I think it will be film and music
Definitely.
and comedy.
And comedy. Comedy
As
is,
long as we can learn to laugh about certain things again.
yeah, that I completely agree with you on that one. Yeah, I really think out of all of those, I think music will bring us together the most.
So you have these talents and these gifts. If you had to give one up, which one would you give up over the other? You wouldn't
Wow,
get. You wouldn't.
that's
get-
a great
you
question.
You wouldn't give up either one, would you?
Oh, no way.
Because they make
No
you
way.
complete, right?
Yeah, I would be much less without them.
Because I see,
Ooh.
I can see with your movies, and I haven't heard your music, but I have through your movies. Because
Yeah.
I have a photographic memory for visual and sound. I never forget stuff. I can hear it one time, and I pretty much remember it.
Wow, yeah.
It's just something I've always had. And when I heard your music, and I'm like, because I look at the whole process of everything, even with magazines, and it's all storytelling. It's different ways to
Completely.
tell those stories. But your way of doing it, and I could hear, I'm like, okay, he's really good at both of these. And I'm like, I wonder which one he'd have to get if he had to choose, which one he would choose.
I think you know, if it's the pros of music is, I was just at a friend's house. He had a guitar.
It's not a fair thing to ask.
I pick it up. No, I feel like I could come up with an answer. It's gonna be tough. It's definitely not an obvious choice. I go over to a friend's house who's got a guitar. I pick it up. If he's got a camcorder, I can't just pick it up and start making films and show him. It's a lot more. You can boast a lot more with music, but I don't know if I'm really about that. You can probably storytell a lot better with film.
There's no question.
And I've also
you can with radio too, by the way.
That is true. Yeah.
That's the way before the cinema was really big like it is, started to get really big after the silent film is artistry. And a lot of people think it's boring, but it's very visual. If you go back and watch, I took a class in film, and we had to watch the beginning process, starting with silent film, and then went into modern stuff at the time that was modern. But the whole silent movie thing in itself, a lot of people don't realize, but before there was sound, they had live orchestras.
Yeah. Yeah. Piano players as well.
Helping set the tone. And they did it with expression. They did it with lighting like they do today, but everything was told without words. Talking, but and I think your films, I see you doing a lot of varieties of things. I don't see you being stuck in a genre. I think anything's possible for you.
Yeah. Back to your question about
I thought you answered it. You give up music first.
I would probably give up music, but I remember there was a time where I was choosing between some film equipment and some music equipment, and I went with the film one. So I think that answers the question pretty well. There's been times where I've been really in a music phase. There's been times where I've really been in a film phase. And right now I've really been able to split it pretty well. I'd say I'm more on the film phase a little bit. But I wouldn't definitely, but I think I'd give up music because I can make a bigger difference with my filmmaking abilities.
I think together they're very powerful, and I think your work is very powerful together.
Completely,
I could see before even knowing your music background, I could see this guy knows how to put a film together with the music is right on everything. Because I listen to that too. So the other question is, because of these skills that you do have, do you like to act at all?
Yeah, I am.
Do you pop in there? Because there's been some great directors in the past that would make appearances in films occasionally.
Oh, completely.
And there's some
Yeah.
guys that were pretty good, decent actors who became better directors.
Yeah. It's definitely both ways. I am very interested in acting. I haven't really done anything too much where I've really, tried to like go off from that and do something with that. Um, but what I have done is, I've acted in old films I made. Uh, Sometimes I just put my camera on a tripod and just point it to me and start acting. Because I got no other alternative. I got no one else tell me out in some instances.
There's an advantage to that.
Yeah, it sometimes it's hard to work with other people. There's definitely
Because
some truth in that.
you have a vision, and it could be challenging, and I don't know, you can correct me if I'm wrong, to get that vision that's in your mind that you see for somebody else to see it or understand it.
Oh yeah,
You
and
may try to
they'll have their own little tweaks,
right.
that I may not
And
resonate
that to
with.
me would be very frustrating
Oh, completely.
because
Yeah.
you totally have this picture. You already see way ahead of the trees of where you want to go and what you want to do. And you are trying to explain this concept of this film that you're visualizing. Of course, you have your storyboards and your what you're going to do, but there's still something missing. Might could be missing in the mix because they just don't know what's in your mind, in your brain.
Yeah. And even if they are able to see exactly what I want to make, they still may not feel as if they connect to it, just may not, float their boat. And that's an issue I've had with many filmmakers or musicians. And sometimes even though your your dream of what it could be may not come out how you want it to be, it's really good to compromise and to build off of each other.
So, how many films? Which count? How old? How old? If you can remember, how old were you when you made your first film?
Probably 6 or 7. So I've made a countless amount of films since then.
Can't count. The idea, ballpark,
Mm.
hundreds, thousands.
Wouldn't say thousands. That's really
I
tough.
bet you. I bet you it's creeping up to thousands.
I bet it's if you count every little miscellaneous film that I've done, even if it's been something really simple, it's probably in the hundreds.
So, I mean, that's right there. I mean, the process of going through that itself is an education, self-taught.
Yeah,
And you probably
completely.
had your pops probably had some little insight, and you guys
Oh,
probably talked
definitely.
about stuff, and that makes a huge difference. But that process is, I mean, it's almost like you've already kind of taken classes in film already.
Yeah, it's when I've gone to some certain film classes, um, a lot of the stuff I've learned from myself or from YouTube. And honestly, I think YouTube is one of the greatest film classes out there. That's just going
I'm
on YouTube.
laughing because my wife, who's does the same thing with everything and is a genius by kind of like you are.
Thanks.
And she's everything she does. I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm just a rock because I'll keep hitting my head and learning things through trial and error. She just goes and does it through YouTube.
Yeah. I do think both methods uh
Essential.
are very essential, and I've gone through both myself. And honestly, um trial and error is one great way to learn things. And it really sticks with you as well.
Well, you have to get the time in. Somebody came up with the concept that to be an expert in a given area, and I don't know if I agree with this, that you needed to get 10,000 hours of that subject in.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's correct though, because there's some people that grasp things more naturally at a quicker rate
Completely.
that
Yeah.
maybe didn't do 10,000 hours.
I'm not the biggest fan of that quote.
I'm not either.
I get what they're trying to convey.
Right.
To become a master at something, it takes time and you have to be patient. 10,000 hours, I wouldn't put it if you're at an hour before then, you're not a master. An hour after, you're the best there is. That's the issue with it right there.
I agree with you, Hunter. I'm so glad that you decided to come by today and talk to us about your thoughts on film and music. And again, that event you're going to be performing at is going to be, did you say the 18th of June?
18th of June, I believe so.
In the afternoon?
In the yeah, is it around 5, 8 It is around 8, June 18th, Del Mar Fair. Come by and see it.
If anybody wants to hear your music, they can go to.
You can go to my Facebook. You can search Baxter Simpson. Probably find my Facebook there. I will be posting some stuff about it on Instagram as well.
Good.
Also, you can search Baxter Simpson _. Find me on Instagram there.
We would love, if you ever have the time, I would love to have him come back next time. And what I'd like to do, if they're interested, of course, and no pressure, I would love to have his films or his film in the interview where we can talk about the film and why he did what he did with it.
Really just break it down. Yeah, that'd be a great idea.
And have the film spliced into the interview.
That'd be a great idea. Yeah, I'd love to break it down.
I think it'd be great. I think it'd be fascinating because I think it gives the audience a take from the actual person that's doing it rather than a bunch of people sitting around, which I think is still cool. But we get the actual
the director's cut, you know,
right? Which is I think it's important.
Yeah, definitely.
And people you're gonna love his films. Like I can't wait to hear more of your music. And so there's no name for the band?
It's just mostly what I do is solo right
so
now.
Everything's Baxter Simpson.
For the most part, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your time. I love your work. It's not very often we have artists of a lot of artists on the show, your age, that's that far advanced in so many ways. You get things, and you're a very old soul. You have a lot of wisdom, and I'm ecstatic at your generation and past generations like myself that are going to be able to learn from your craft and what you're going to be creating.
Yeah, I'm just really happy to share with people what I've been able to make and been able to find, you know.
And congratulations on your awards that night that we met
thank you. Yeah.
Because before you won, I looked at my wife and I looked at the film and I'm like, that's the best film. And then you won two awards, right?
2 awards, yeah.
But I knew right off the bat, I think we both agreed that before even meeting you or knowing, it was just the work was so well done. I'm like, that's the winner.
Yeah. And what a great film needs, really any artistic expression, it needs a good story and it just needs to be told right. Some of my other filmmaking buddies, they made some films that may have been told, may have been shown, may have been edited better than mine, but maybe it's a story that isn't really as capturing to the audience. And I really think finding a balance between both of those really just sets you apart from the competition in terms of film.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for the interview.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Remember the name, Baxter Simpson. You'll be hearing more about him in the future. That's my prediction. I don't usually do those types of predictions, but I know good talent when I see it.
Thank you.
And thank you for your hard work.
Thank you.
Everybody take care. This is, of course, the Brett Davis podcast. And thank you to Attorney King for all your support. IB Fitness, Marina Teal, who's also a dynamo in herself, who does a great podcast with us all the way from Houston, Texas.
Oh, wow.
Thank you for what you do. And of course, Saquon Casino and Resort. Thank you for what you do and your belief in us. And my partner in crime, Sarah, thank you for all you do. And my other partner, can't do it alone. No person's an island. It takes a village. Thank you to, of course, Brad for Beyond the Bridge and for Local Umbrella Media. I love working with you. I love the storytelling process. And everybody take care and be nice to each other.